That's true. You're right.
Oh my God.
So, how has your day been? Good? Yeah. Which classes did you have already?
8B.
Not 8B. Polish, mathematics, Deutsch,
German.
German, yeah.
German. We got
Angielsku, German, yes. Angielsku, Deutsch.
Oh.
Right. Okay. Should I start?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Jonathan Zisook. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm from the United States. And let's get the American map. We're going to have a geography quiz.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't worry. Like, we will see. We will test your geography skills.
Okay.
From the East Coast to the West Coast. So, I come from New York, from Manhattan. Manhattan, which is a borough of New York City. New York is both a city and a state, exactly. So there's New York, the state, and there's New York, the city. And next to New York is the state of Pennsylvania. Does anyone know a major city in Pennsylvania?
No.
No? Okay. Well, maybe I'll give you a hint.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, exactly. And sometimes we abbreviate it in slang. We call it Philly. Philadelphia. And there's another city in Pennsylvania, all the way to the west, just before Ohio.
Yes.
And it's the city of
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah. And does anyone follow American football?
No.
No? Okay. Well, they have a very good football team, American football team, so throwing the ball instead of kicking it. And they're called the Steelers. Because in Pittsburgh is the capital of the steel industry in the United States. Steel and coal, kind of like Western Poland, like Katowice area, same type of industries, or in Germany, like the Ruhr areas, like the city of Bochum in Western Germany, maybe, that you've heard about from your German classes. Yes? Okay. Great, that's our warm-up, that's our introduction.
Oh.
So we have New York, New York State, New York City. We have Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. This is part of Pennsylvania, or abbreviated, just Penn. Okay, let me learn, I want to learn a little bit about you guys too. So, now you know a little about me. I'm from New York. I'm from the United States. New York is next to Philadelphia, or next to Pennsylvania. So, please, would you tell me your name and something that you like to do, some interest of yours? It could be reading, it could be playing soccer, it could be art, it could be anything, but your name and something you like to do. Okay? Yeah, no, in the front. We'll go back. Yeah. So what is your name? Gosha. Okay? And Gosha, what do you like to do for fun?
She doesn't understand.
Okay. You can help your colleagues, you can help your friends if somebody doesn't understand something, that's okay. just ask a colleague and we'll help each other out. We should be helping each other, right? Okay, so Gosia, nice to meet you. I'm Jonathan.
My name is Monica.
Monica?
I like to play football and cook dishes.
Cook dishes, okay, you really like to cook. Okay. What's your favorite dish to cook? Okay, what about what's your favorite in Polish? Po polsku, what's your favorite? Pierogi, okay, great. Okay, so I like pierogi too. Not so much to cook it though, it takes too much time. You have to make the dough, then you have to make the filling, then you gotta roll the dough and then boil and fry. There's so many different things, so many steps. I mean, can it just be done already? That's why it's better to eat and not to make, you see. Okay, so Gosia and Monica.
My name is Dagna.
Dagna, okay.
I like listening to music.
Music, okay. Dagna likes the music. What type of music?
Pop.
Pop, okay. Who's your favorite artist?
I don't have favorite.
Okay.
My name is Karuna and I like watch serial
Okay,
on Netflix.
cool. Okay. So, Gosia, Monica, Dagna. Gosia, Monica, Dagna, Karolina.
My name is Natalia.
Natalia, okay.
I like listening to music.
Music, okay. Do you have a favorite artist? What type of music then? All music. Pop, rock. Pop, okay. You in the back.
I am Bartek.
Martek.
My name is Bartek. Bartek.
Martek.
Bartek.
Bartek. Got it.
I like to play football or eat fast food.
Eat fast food. Nice. I'm sure your mother likes that too, right?
I like to play football, play game.
Okay. What's your favorite fast food of choice?
Pizza.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Now the pizza would probably be mine as well. Okay, next to Bartek is
Adam.
Adam.
I like computer games and listening to music.
Nice, okay. So we have Gosia, Monica, Dagna, Karolina, Natalia, Bartek, and Adam. And now we have,
My name is Ivo.
again,
Ivo.
Ivo. Okay.
I like computer games. My name is Kuba,
Okay.
and I like play computer games and watch WWE.
WWE, okay. Nice. As long as you don't, pull any of your moves on me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so in the back we have Bartek and Adam, Ivo, and Kuba.
My name is Igor.
Igor, nice to meet you.
I like playing games, I like listening to music, and I like programming games.
Oh, cool. Programmer. That's great.
Oh.
My name is Hubert.
Hubert.
Yes. Oh. And I like to listen to music and play some games.
My name is Tomek. I like playing football and good food. Good food.
What does it mean?
You are
Okay, so Tomek and good food. What good food?
No. And I like good food.
Yeah, good food.
Everyone likes it.
Yes, what type of good food?
Fast food.
Okay. You and Bartek, he has the pizza and you have the hot dogs, okay? Very healthy, good for your cholesterol. No, not really bad for you actually, but delicious, admittedly. And you are?
I like play football and listen to music.
Nice to meet you. That seems a good pastimes, football and music. And you are?
I am Mikołaj
I like playing on the guitar and listen to Polish rap and English K-pop.
Cool, okay. So like, yes, you are.
My name is Igor. I like pizza.
Okay, very good. Excellent. So let's try this. So we have Gosha, Monica,
N-A. Yes.
Dagna.
Yes.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna know your name by the time we finish. I will know your name.
Yes.
So Dagna, Carolina. Don't trick me. You're all tricking Natalia.
Yes.
I don't remember this. Bartek, Adam, Ivo, Kuba, Igor,
H.
Hubert,
Yes.
Tomek. One more time. Nikolai. Nikodem.
And
Yes.
Nikodem.
Yes.
Okay. And Nikolai and Igor again.
yes. 2 Igors.
All right. That's not too bad. You only have to remember one person. It's a lot harder for me. So. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Perfect. So, my story isn't over. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. I live here now because I'm doing a PhD, a doctorate at the City University of New York. But I grew up all the way over here. Seattle, in Washington State, which is different from
Washington, D.C.
exactly Igor.
Wow.
Washington District.
District of DC stands for
State.
Columbia. District of Columbia. Ooh. That's a mistake. District of Columbia, which is what in the United States? Like Warsaw in Poland, it's capital, exactly. But I grew up in Seattle, Washington. Of course, they're named after the same person. Who can guess?
George Washington.
George Washington. You're right on the money, George Washington. So, I have a connection to both Washingtons because I was actually born in this Washington.
In the capital.
In the capital. But I grew up all the way over here on the water in Seattle, on the west coast, which is on which ocean?
Pacific.
Exactly. Great. Pacific. Ocean. Pacific Ocean. And over here is
Atlantic.
Atlantic. Right. Exactly. And way before me, before my father, my grandfather lived in a little town right here, Rzeszów, somewhere above Rzeszów, right? Someplace between, right on the border, really right on the border of today's Belarus, and Poland. But when he lived there, it was Poland. Which means my grandfather lived in Poland around what time? Now we're going to test you. not just your geography, but your history.
Okay, easy clap.
Well, you should know this because it is very general Polish history. Yes,
It
Igor.
was time between the First World War and the Second World War.
Exactly, precisely.
That's a lie.
Yes.
Exactly. So, my grandfather lived right around here on the Kresy, on the borderland. And in 1929, he moved to the city of Chicago. So what's interesting about Chicago?
There are the most Poles in Chicago in the whole USA.
Exactly. In fact, more Poles in Chicago than anywhere else outside of Poland. In the entire world, outside of Poland. It may actually be one of the largest Polish cities, even within Poland. So, but in the 1920s and 1930s, as Igor said, between World War I and World War II, which is also when the Polish state was reconstituted. What do we call it in English? Yeah. Hubert? I heard it from you.
No.
Yes, I heard you.
But I say it in Polish, so no.
Well, say it in Polish then.
Zaborek.
Okay, the Second Republic. So that before Poland was what?
Deconstructed?
Deconstructed. That's a great word. Deconstructed. Deconstructed by whom? Yeah, both of you.
Yes.
Yeah, I see. You're just stretching. I see. I have an itch behind the knee.
It was the Russian Empire, the Austrian Empire, and the Prussian.
The Prussian, exactly.
Empire.
Right, exactly.
Not Deutsch.
So, exactly. So. Right, well, eventually Hungary comes into it. Originally it's Austria, but then it becomes Austria-Hungary, or Austro-Hungarian Empire. And which parts, exactly?
The Krakow.
The Krakow and the Lwów belong now to Austrian Empire.
Right.
The Poznań, Szczecin, Danzig belong to the Russian Empire, and the Warsaw, Łódź, Białystok belong to the Russian Empire.
Yep, and also, of course, where my grandfather was.
And
Cześć.
And farther. And further.
Vilno and other cities.
Yes, exactly. So, Vilno, right,
Vilno
means, sure. And Lvov was called the capital of
Ukraine.
no, not Ukraine,
the
of this special area that was carved out of Poland by the Austrians.
Galicia.
Galicia. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And Galicia, the two largest and most important cities were Kraków and Lwów. But Lwów was the most important. It's called the capital of Galicia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in this time, so then Poland is, after World War I, Poland comes back onto the map once again.
Yes.
Polish people never stopped existing. There always were Poles, but the country was deconstructed, as Igor said.
Yes.
After World War I, Poland returns.
Yes.
But what happens when it returns? There's lots of different people in Poland. Poland is multicultural, multi-ethnic,
Some
multi-religious.
Jews, some Romans.
Yeah, so who are the people? What are the nationalities that are in Poland?
Jews.
The Jews, Germans,
Right, you have Jews, you have Germans,
Ukrainians,
Romans.
Russians.
you have some Russians, of course.
Romans.
You have Roma, is that what somebody said?
Romans. Rome.
The Cyganie.
Cyganie. Romans.
Złodzieje.
Who else?
Some Czech.
Yes, of course, you have some Czech. Of course, of course. What?
Austrians.
Yes, but they're more the people that were kind of in that Galicia. They weren't exactly Austrian per se, but of course there's the impact of the institutions from Austria are extremely important. Well, who else? People from Europe, right? Belarusians, Belarusians, right? Of course.
Lithuanians.
Who else?
Lithuanians.
Lithuanians, yeah. Litva, right?
Everyone.
So it's, okay, now who's the largest of these groups?
Jews.
Jews.
No, not Jews.
Germans.
German.
No, not Germans.
Wait. Ukraine.
Correct. Ukrainians. Ukrainians are about
No kto najwięcej?
16%, 16 to 20, something like this,
Okay.
percent of the Polish population in 1931.
10%. Yeah.
Jews are 10%.
Germans.
And your professor, your teacher, did some good math earlier, and he was able to correctly calculate the number of Jews in Poland between the world wars, or right before World War II. Does anyone know? Now this requires you to know how many people lived in Poland then, and then do a little bit of math.
28 millions.
28
Millions.
Million.
Oh, lived in, yeah, so that's about right, a little lower. That's a little bit more, a little more people lived in Poland then, but that's about right. So if, let's say 30, take 30, if we have 30 million people, and then we have, yeah, exactly. So it's a little more, it's about 3.3 million Jews live in Poland at that time. Okay, so my grandfather was one of those 3.3 million Jews who lived in Poland, who then, before World War II, left and went to the United States. He was one of many others, in fact, 2 million Jews moved to the United States from this part of the world.
I've seen the nationality.
Between 1880 and 1924, 2 million Jewish immigrants from mostly Poland, but also what would have been called Russia,
Yeah.
but parts of what is today Ukraine, parts of what is also today Belarus, parts of what is today Lithuania, to the United States. And they developed their own sort of Polish Jewish culture in the United States. They eat things that maybe you're familiar with, like a bagel. You heard of bagels? Not bigos. Bagel.
Donuts without the...
Yeah. Bagel.
Bagel.
Yeah, let's...
Donuts without the toppings.
This.
To jest ciasto.
Like a donut.
Cheese with
To jest ten.
bagel. Quality.
Wow.
Okay. Well, but it's in English spelled like this, bagel, but I guess bagel.
Jewish bagel.
Well, it was actually made by, the first person to make this was a Jew in
Poland.
Poland, and who can guess which city?
Warsaw.
Not Warsaw, but
Wait. Białystok.
not Białystok,
Łódź.
not Toruń, not Łódź. Go further south. Krakow, yes. So the bagel originates from Krakow. Yeah. And other foods. How about Chałka.
Oh, how bad is the quality?
So Chałka,
It's from Tom.
but do you know Chałka is not really Chałka? Do you know Chałka is really
It's a type of bread.
Challah. Chałka is derived from the Hebrew challah. Chałka was originally Jewish bread made for the Sabbath, which then became very popular, and now you can get it at any bakery in Poland. Because 10% of the population was Jewish, which means people share food. They share culture. Not just that, there are many words in Polish that are derived from Jewish words. So, we'll just stick to one, which seemed to be the most fun, which is machloika.
What is the machloika?
What is that?
What is it?
What is it?
It's like, in English, this would be something like a shady business, a dispute, a quarrel. Well, it's derived from a Hebrew and Yiddish word called machloket.
I need to see this.
I assure you, even in the Hebrew, I can write it for you. That's what it is in Hebrew, and it literally will transliterate into this.
What?
Okay, here, let's back up for a second. Two languages that Jews in Poland use. Does anyone know what languages they are?
Kaszubski und the Polish. Yeah, the Kaszubski language is the language.
Yes, I know that, but not the language that the Jews are using here in Poland.
But it's not Jewish language.
But there is a language which is similar to German, like you just said.
Śląski.
Not Śląski, of course Śląski is also English.
Tak, bagaj.
Does anyone know what Śląski is in English? Huh? Well, this is English class. So Śląski in English. We have to say it in English.
Śląsk.
Śląsk.
Manchesterian.
Silent. Silesia.
Silesia or Silesia?
Silesia.
Exactly.